What's going on, y'all? Shout out to the Black Squad. I am Kenyatta Black. Thank you for tuning in. The tethers are tethering, y'all. The tethers are tethering, and the King Tether, Myron Gaines. Man, oh man, we're gonna get into it, man. Before we get into it, make sure you are following me on Facebook. Make sure you are following me on Instagram. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon to make sure you are getting all notifications for when I go live, drop a video, or drop a short. And of course, through the duration of the stream, if you are feeling the content and you want to support this Black Squad platform, feel free to hit that Cash App, or as I like to say, bless the Cash App, $ Black Squad, or you can hit the PayPal. All of that is in the description box. Now, before we get into it, for those of you who haven't seen lately, which is probably most of you, Facebook is shadow banning the hell out of me right now. This just keeps happening over and over. Every time I start to gain some momentum on Facebook and start to reach a larger audience, Facebook puts the kibosh on my fucking growth and puts me through some bullshit. I got hit with, it's the craziest thing. This has never happened to me before. Somehow, some way, first of all, I'm restricted from posting reels, nothing else but posting reels, which is basically all the fuck I do on Facebook, right? Somehow, some way, I'm restricted from posting reels, but I'm not restricted from posting reels at the same time. Here's the crazy thing. First of all, how you gonna give me a 6-day restriction, but you're not telling me what community standard or community guideline I violated? Anytime you violate a community guideline on Facebook, they send you a notification letting you know what video or what post or what comment it was that violated their community standard. I go to post a reel and it's saying that I can't post the reel because I violated some community standard or community guideline. Now check this out. A little while later, I discover I actually can post a reel, but here's the catch. I can't add my location or tag people in the reel. For those of you who don't make reels, when you make a reel, right before you share the reel to Facebook, you have the option of sharing your reel to your Instagram page as well. Also, you have the option of tagging 20 people directly in the reel, and also putting your location on the reel. As long as I don't put my location, as long as I don't tag 20 people, I can post the fucking reel. So basically what Facebook is doing is allowing me to post the reel as long as I can't reach an audience. But again, never specified what community standard I so-called violated. And you know, BS like this has been going on for the longest, so I'm about sick of Facebook. So make sure you follow me on Instagram, because I'm trying to basically, what I got going on or have had going on Facebook, I'm trying to move that over to Instagram. Because yeah, Instagram is a little sensitive too, but from, you know, based on my experience with Instagram, it's not nearly as censored on Instagram as it is Facebook. However, I did learn the hard way about a month ago that you had better not say anything about the cootie shot or you will lose your fucking channel. Because that's what the fuck happened to me. I posted a reel about T-Boz expressing her regret over the cootie shot, and I immediately lost my page on Instagram. And that's why I had to make a new Instagram page. So for those of you who didn't know, you better not say nothing about that damn cootie shot on Instagram, because they're not playing on Instagram about that cootie shot. I swear I posted that reel Came back about 15 minutes later, my page was gone. I said, God damn, they are not playing about that cootie shot. So again, make sure you follow me on Instagram because again, I'm moving the show over to Instagram. You know, I'm trying to get out the mean streets of the Facebook ghetto, man, because Facebook is a bitch, man. Facebook is a bitch. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will also have access to certain content that I do not post on Facebook because, again, Facebook is sensitive, such as the Live with Martin Swartz series, as well as Kenyatta's Thoughts, where I give my thoughts, commentary, and opinion on certain trending topics. And you know me, I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind. So follow me on Instagram for that. All right. Now, let's get into this situation with King Tether, Myron Gaines. This dude quoted some BS like he was really saying something. He basically, in an effort to say that there is no racism in America, or to say that, you know, foundational black Americans' claims of racism are being blown out of proportion. He quoted a stat in which basically he stated that in 1940, 87% of foundational black Americans were living below the poverty line. But by 1960, it dropped from 87% to 47%, which would be a 40% drop. So his argument is, how could racism truly be an issue if at this time in American history, which was obviously one of the hardest times to be a foundational black American, which, you know, because obviously between 1940 and 1960, this was before the Civil Rights Movement. Even though 1960, the Civil Rights Movement was underway and gained steam shortly thereafter. So basically his argument is, well, how do you explain, he's asking, how do you explain this 40% drop? And he's asking it as though he's really asking a grand question. This dude thinks he's got an aha moment. He thinks he's got a gotcha moment with this question. But we're going to get into that in a second. And I'm going to answer the question because I have yet to see anybody else answer the question. So I'm going to answer the question. And it's actually rather simple. It's actually rather simple. And, you know, look, unlike most people, I am very well versed in history, obviously, black history in particular, not just black American history, but also African history. Unlike most people, I actually find history to be interesting, intriguing, and, believe it or not, entertaining. I know that sounds crazy to most people because most people are absolutely bored by history. As a matter of fact, I'll be sitting here sometimes watching something, you know, because I'll even study the history of war, you know, and I'm talking about wars that took place in the BC era. Okay, so I'll be sitting here, and my girl will be sitting here. She'll be like, babe, do we have to watch this? Do we have to watch this? How much longer are you gonna watch? I'll be like, babe, we're just not getting to the good part. She's like, what good part? She's like, nigga, this shit is boring. You know what I'm saying? So I'm well aware that most people are absolutely bored by history. So, but listen, I don't want to say too much. Let's get into this. I'm going to show you this clip. Well, I'm going to show you two parts. I'm going to show you Tariq Nasheed's response to Myron Gaines, because Myron called out Tariq and also called out Umar Johnson. So I'm going to show you Tariq's response as well as Myron Gaines' so-called challenge. And then I'm going to answer his simple question. So let me show you that clip.
Because they'll try to talk tough with us, but they know better, just like Fresh and Fit. So, on Myron, your boy Myron from Fresh and Fit, he keeps my name in his mouth. He's always talking, taking shots at me, always trying to denigrate foundational black Americans, always complaining about, oh, y'all FBAs are trying to get reparations. Oh, ain't nobody oppressing you. So the other day, he made a video talking about me. I mean, he wants to debate me. Yeah, I'll debate Tariq. I'll debate Umar, whoop-de-whoop, and all of that stuff. Now, hold on. Just talking about how he'll debate me, and okay. All right. Okay.
Fair use.
Him talking about how he'll debate me.
Fair use.
All right. This is your boy Myron from Fresh and Fit. All right. Hold on. That's Myron talking about how he'll debate me. Hold on.
Now listen to this bullshit.
Nope. And honestly, if it's me and Nick, I'll take on Tariq and Umar. We'd absolutely destroy them. We would absolutely destroy them. And we wouldn't even have to get into like any of the IQ stuff. No, we would just straight debate them on how you are not oppressed as an African American in the United States, or an FBA, foundationally black America, whatever they want to say. They say all these excuses about why the black man can't get ahead. I'll give you all one stat. All right, just to show you guys how ludicrous these guys are. In 1940, okay?
All right, here we go.
87% of blacks lived in poverty. By 1960, about 47% of blacks lived below the poverty line, okay? So a 40% drop. Also, keep in mind, this was before the civil rights era. So racism was at its highest. So please explain to me how you had a 40% drop of blacks living under under the poverty line, and one of the worst eras to be a black person in the United States, and then you're fast forwarding to 2023, where racism exists. I'm not denying it exists. However, it is not strong enough to keep you back or hold you back from success. No way. But you're telling me people had way more obstacles back then, and they were able to not live in poverty? Come on, man, get out of here.
Yeah, okay,
nope.
These bogus,
and honestly,
okay.
If it's me and Nick, I could.
So yeah, these little bogus ass arguments, he's trying to. That's light work. So I let him know. I said
it damn sure is light work.
Let Myron know I'll go on Fresh and Fit and have a face-to-face with him and his other Tether co-hosts. Yeah. No, don't act like I ain't here. Yeah, don't issue no challenge like, hey, nigga, I'm right here. I'm not hard to find. If you want to debate me, I'll go on there with your little ass. Easy. I have no problem with doing that. Yeah, don't sit here selling whoop tickets, dude.
Now, did you hear that bullshit? Did you hear that? Now, this is very simple. Now, let's repeat the question real quick so everybody's on the same page. He said in 1940, 87% of foundational black Americans were living below the poverty line. By 1960, it dropped by 40% to 47%. And he's asking, how could that be if America so racist? How could foundational black Americans have achieved that at that time in America if America was so racist? This is a simple question with a simple history behind it. Now, 1940, right? So we're talking about the 40s. What was happening in the world, keyword world, in the 1940s? I'll give you a quick second to think about it. What was happening in the world in the 1940s? Well, in the 1940s, there was a crazy man with a funny mustache over there in Germany. You know, we can't say his name on YouTube. His name is not YouTube friendly, and do not type his name in my chat room. Because shit like that will get you booted. That shit pisses me off. When people come in the comment section on my videos or in my chat room typing certain stuff. Do not type that man's name in my chat room. I'm trying to grow my channel, not get shadow banned. Do not type his name in my chat room. I'll boot your ass the fuck up out of here so goddamn quick, it'll make your head spin. Not playing games. Anyway, there was a crazy man with a funny mustache over there in Germany. Kicked up a little something called World War II. Right? Now, to make it simple, once America got involved in World War II because of the Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor, to make it simple, America was sending white man after white man after white man after white man, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, or I'll say hundreds of thousands, of white men to Europe and to Japan, fighting a war on two fronts in Europe and Japan. And because of America sending hundreds of thousands of white men to Europe and Japan to fight a world war on two fronts, many jobs became available. Factory jobs, plumbing, welding, carpentry, bus drivers, you name it. And America had no option but to give these jobs to black people if it wanted to keep functioning economically and socially, and if America wanted to win the damn war. So simply put, foundational black Americans became the fortunate benefactors of a circumstance of history in which we had absolutely no control over, and fortunately, America had no control over either. America was forced to give black people those jobs that were once being done by the white men who had to go fight that war, which is what caused what is now known as the Great Migration, when foundational black Americans came out of the South to the North, out of the South to the Midwest, out of the South to the West Coast to work these jobs that were now vacant and available. It wasn't because America found religion. It wasn't because suddenly America loved foundational black Americans. They literally didn't have a choice. And like I said, the foundational black American became the fortunate benefactor of a circumstance of history that was out of our control and was also out of America's control. This is why you see such a significant drop in poverty among foundational black Americans between 1940 and 1960. This is the main reason. It's not rocket science. It's a simple 2 + 2 fucking question. If you know anything about your own damn history as a black man or black woman in America, specifically a foundational black American man or woman. If you know anything about your history, you know that was a 2 + 2 question. And this fool was sitting there talking about he wants to debate Tariq Nasheed and Umar Johnson. Motherfucker, Kenyatta Black would wipe the fucking floor with you. And you talking about you want to debate Tariq Nasheed and Umar Johnson? I think you better stay in your place, bro. I think you should stay in your place. You know, continue to talk your little tether babble and bring them hookers and IG models on your show so that you can actually get views. because you're such a you and Fat Boy Fit, or excuse me, Fat Boy Fresh. You and Fat Boy Fresh are such fucking lames. You couldn't draw an audience by your damn selves. Which is why nobody watches that bullshit that you do when you don't have the bitches on the show. Don't nobody want to sit there and listen to your lame ass and Fresh's mush mouth ass. The motherfucker Fresh can't even hardly talk. The fuck? Fresh, that nigga Fresh sound like he had a stroke. And his fucking jaw sound like he had a stroke and his jaw muscles never recovered. Half the time you can't even understand what the fuck he's saying. The only reason people watch your show is for the women that's on that show. And they want to watch the back and forth. It's a army of fucking lames and incels that watch that goddamn show. And that shit's like revenge porn for dudes that don't get pussy. I ain't heard a real nigga yet say that they watch that bullshit. So this dude asked this stupid ass question. And then called himself calling out Tariq and Umar Johnson. So of course, Tariq Nasheed answered the call, and he posted something, I believe, on his Twitter. And check this out, right? Check this out.
Don't sit here selling wolf tickets, and don't sit here talking about in 1940 the poverty rate here, in 1960 the poverty rate here. Dude, you're from the Sudan. What about
Facts.
your poverty rate, dude? Don't even go there with me. You don't.
My bad, I hit the wrong damn button. But yeah, listen. Like Tariq said, man, this dude is from the Sudan. And I'm going to show y'all this video about the Sudan in a minute, because I want y'all to understand Myron's frame of mind as a northern Sudanese, specifically a northern Sudanese. I want you to understand Myron's frame of mind and the deep-rooted, deep-seated hatred that the northern Sudanese, who are Arabs, have for black people. I want you to understand his frame of mind and why he keeps foundational black Americans in his mouth, why he keeps black people in his mouth, why he could sit there with Nick Fuentes, a known white supremacist, say the things that he said, and have Nick Fuentes screaming nigger, nigger, nigger on that show. And why he specifically had a panel full of black women to do it. I don't think I've ever seen an entire panel of black women on Fresh and Fit. Ask yourselves, why was it an entire panel of black women on the show when they decided to have Nick Fuentes on there? Because he wanted to embarrass black people as a whole. That was done deliberate. But you've got to understand Myron Gaines' frame of mind in relation to, I just noticed I had the screen out too wide, in relation to his hatred for black people. And in this case, specifically foundational black Americans, who so many foreign black people seem to envy and hate so much. But we'll get into that in a second. I want you to see this. So Myron issues the challenge, but then all of a sudden he has a change of heart. Check this out.
You don't even want it, and I let him know. I'll be glad to go on there. And then he responded. He tapped out real quick.
Real quick.
This is his response. You're irrelevant, Tariq. I'll debate Dr. Umar, but you're not worth my time. Bring someone with you with a presence if you want to do this. Stop.
Now, wait a minute. Bring someone with a presence? Again, as if Myron and Fit or excuse me, Myron and Fit. Fresh. I keep getting, that's how irrelevant that nigga is. I keep calling him Fit. As if Myron and Fresh have a fucking presence themselves. That show is entertaining to people because people like to see, basically the gender war live and in the flesh. Basically, they like to. First of all, if you put any show that has a panel full of attractive women every night, it's gonna do numbers. It's gonna do numbers. People are always gonna watch any show that has a panel full of attractive women. Then when you add into it, the arguing back and forth and kicking bitches off the show for little to nothing, the drama, so you add pretty girls in drama, basically. Pretty girls in drama. That's what does it. It's not because Myron is such a talented podcaster. And it's certainly not because Fresh is such a talented podcaster. Half the time you don't even know what the fuck Fresh just said. And 90% of the time, Fresh doesn't even fucking talk. He just fucking sits there with that constipated look on his fucking face. So presence. This dude's talking about a presence. Bring someone with you. Bring someone with you with a presence if you want to do this. And he's saying this like he's the one in the authoritative position. Fresh is nobody in comparison to Tariq Nasheed or Dr. Umar Johnson. He's no fucking body. This would be like if say back in the day, back in the mid 90s. Say back in the mid 90s we had Instagram and Twitter and shit, right? And remember Derek Harper? Remember Derek Harper, the point guard for the Knicks? Funny looking dude. To this day, I always joke. I always say he is the ugliest point guard of all time. Remember Derek Harper? This is like if back in the 90s we had Instagram and Derek Harper was on Instagram talking shit to Michael Jordan. Talking about, yeah, you better bring somebody with you, nigga. Like, what? Like, dude, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? Man, the audacity of this tether, bro. The audacity of this tether.
That's a cop-out. That's a cop-out. All right? Yeah, you selling wolf tickets. Yeah, and I'm trying to buy a ticket, my G.
So that quick, Myron basically backtracks and rescinds he rescinded the invitation, took back his challenge. Suddenly he ain't feeling too froggy. Now it's you don't have a presence. You need to bring somebody with you. If Tariq Nasheed doesn't have a presence, if Tariq Nasheed is nobody special, then why is Myron Gaines constantly saying Tariq Nasheed's name? Why the fuck is Tariq Nasheed's name constantly in his fucking mouth? I think Myron is feeling some kind of way about the Tether comments. I think Myron is feeling some kind of way about foundational black Americans finally drawing a line in the sand and recognizing ourselves as a unique and distinct group of black people unto ourselves, the same way everybody else does. The same way every other group of black people have been doing for decades now. Oh, sure, it's, look, we ain't going to get too much into it, but we already know the deal. Everybody's black First of all, everybody's black till it's time to be black. Then they're Jamaican, Trinidadian, Haitian, Nigerian, Ghanaian, Senegalese, and so on and so forth. And you know what I find funny too? You know, for example, you know, when a Nigerian goes to jail, he's black. But when a Nigerian becomes a doctor, he's a Nigerian doctor. Everybody wants to come amongst foundational black Americans and hide their degeneracy among us or behind us, their dysfunction and whatnot. You know, all the negative things you want to try to blend in with us so that foundational black Americans take the heat and get the fingers pointed at us for shit that you did or are doing. But then when you do something good, you do it in the name of being a Haitian, or being a Jamaican, or being a Nigerian, so on and so forth. So when foundational black Americans finally get tired of the game and we say, okay, that's how you want to play it, then we'll play it that way too. And we finally, after all these decades, we too draw a line in the sand. Again, recognizing ourselves as a unique and distinct people from the rest of you. That's when we find out for real, who's who. Because the people that we call tethers, like Myron Gaines, let it be known that they have a serious problem with that. And why would anybody have a problem with that? I don't see any group of black people upset with Jamaicans for having their own unique and distinct identity. I don't see any group of black people upset with Nigerians about maintaining their own unique and distinct identity. But suddenly, when foundational black Americans proclaim our unique and distinct identity, suddenly so many black people throughout the black world have a fucking problem with it. So you have to ask yourselves, what game have these people been playing all these years that they're so upset that we would do that? Because obviously, us doing that is throwing a wrench in their program somehow, some way. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a problem. Well, hey, the free ride is over. The buffet is over. The riding our coattails and benefiting from everything we do, and then turning around and giving us the fucking finger and giving us your ass to kiss when you feel like the fucking coast is clear, those fucking days are over. In the words of Tariq Nasheed, hold your own nuts, nigga. Hold your own nuts. The foundational black American ain't caping for no fucking body no more. Them days are over. From this point on, whatever you get, whatever you obtain, whatever success and progress you achieve, you're going to achieve it on your own. You ain't going to achieve it on the backs of foundational black America. Not happening. Not happening. So, like I was saying a minute ago, I want to show y'all this video. Matter of fact, hit the Cash App. $BLAXKSQUAD. Hit the Cash App for this content, man. So I want to show y'all this video. And matter of fact, go ahead, hit that like button. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon so you get all notifications. And go ahead and bless that Cash App, $BLAXKSQUAD, or you can hit the PayPal. The Cash App, the link to the Cash App and the link to the PayPal are both in the description box. All your contributions are greatly appreciated. So I want to show y'all this video about the Northern Sudan. I want to educate you as much as I can anyway. I guess you could say this would be like a quick crash course into the decades-long, a quick crash course into the decades-long conflict that's been going on in the Sudan between the North and the South, the Arabs in the North and the African in the South. And by doing this, I want to, like I said, I want to give you some insight to the frame of mind of Myron Gaines when it comes to black people. Not just foundational black Americans, but black people in general. He has a particular bug up his ass about foundational black Americans. But there's nothing strange about that. There's nothing strange about that. Even if you wanted to, or that's it right there though. You see, because Myron Gaines, real quick, Myron Gaines is one of these foreign Negroes who seeks to align himself with white supremacy. That's the card that he thinks he can play. There's a lot of foreign Negroes who think they can play that card, and there's a lot of foreign people in general who think they can play that card. Myron Gaines is one of these foreign Negroes who thinks he can align himself with white supremacy in an effort to gain something for himself. He's foolish enough to think, first of all, he's foolish enough to think that he can have a partner in white supremacy. Look, like I told you a minute ago, as a student of history, one thing I can tell you, not to sound like a member of the Nation of Islam or something, but one thing I can tell you about the white man or the European does not share power. You cannot point to any time in history of any European nation in which they shared power with a non-European group. The European does not work in percentages and fractions. The European will either have all of it or nothing. That's how they operate. And I'm not mad at that one way or the other. It's probably how the rest of us should fucking operate. What I'm pointing out here is how foolish it is for Myron Gaines or anybody else to think that they could form a partnership with white supremacy in an effort to truly gain something for themselves. As Jason Black always says, sooner or later, white supremacy breaks its tools. So they'll use you, but sooner or later, they're going to break you. So Myron Gaines, like I said, thinks he can form this partnership with white supremacy in an effort to attack, degrade, denigrate, and devalue foundational black Americans. But when you think about it, it's really not that surprising that he specifically has a problem with foundational black Americans above and beyond any other group of black people on the planet, for the fact that white supremacy itself, white supremacists themselves, have more of a problem with the foundational black American than any other group of black people on the planet. And the reason is pretty simple. The foundational black American is, one, the most educated group of black people on the planet. Yes, and I know my brothers and sisters in Canada, my brothers and sisters in England might like to challenge that. Hey, say what you will. As a collective, the foundational black American is, one, the most educated group of black people on the planet. And as far as the white supremacist is concerned, that makes him extremely dangerous. And number two, the foundational black American man is the most skilled black man on the planet in the art of war. The most skilled black man on the planet in modern warfare. uh, combined operations, how to attack a target from land, air, and sea. These two things combine on top of the fact that the foundational Black American is hands down, and my Canadian brothers and sisters and my English or English brothers and sisters, you can't argue with this one. The foundational Black American man and woman are hands down the most rebellious group of black people on the planet. These three things combined have marked us for destruction as far as the white supremacist is concerned. As far as the white supremacist is concerned, the foundational Black American man is the most dangerous black man on the planet. Therefore, he must be dealt with. So it's no surprise that Myron Gaines, a foreign Negro who seeks to align himself with white supremacy, it's no surprise that Myron Gaines, too, would have a particular problem with foundational Black Americans as well. If you're learning something tonight, go ahead and hit the Cash App, $BLAXKSQUAD. Or you can hit the PayPal. Both links are in the description box. Now look, I want to play this video real quick. I want to show you this little clip right here, like I said, to give you more of an insight into the mind of Myron Gaines, so that you can have a better understanding of where he's actually coming from with his disdain for black people in general, and specifically his disdain. I already explained why he specifically has a disdain for foundational Black Americans, but I want to show you why he has a disdain for black people in general, and the root of his mindset, if you will, right? Check this out.
Upper Nile is the northernmost state in southern Sudan, and on the streets here.
And as the video goes on, I'm gonna pause it and try to give you a little bit of a breakdown and maybe explain a little bit so you have a better understanding.
The demand for secession is reaching fever pitch. More Muslims live here than any other southern state, and it is southern Muslims who are leading the call for separation here.
Now, when she says southern Muslims, she's talking about the African. What you have to understand about Sudan is basically split in two. You have the north and you have the south. In the south, you have the real Sudanese, the African Sudanese. In the north, you have the Arabs, who are the descendants of invaders who never went home. The descendants of invaders and colonizers who never went home. The same can be said about the entire body of North Africa. The Arab in North Africa is an invader and colonizer who never went home. An invader and colonizer who has not been put the hell out of Africa yet. Hopefully that day will come, but that day has not come yet. So when she says it right there, when she said the southern Muslims, she's talking about the Africans in the south who are Muslim.
A new generation of southern leadership has taken stage in the shadow of the late John Garang, the South's founding father, and a man who believed in the unity of Sudan. Youth here say racism and tribalism are the real source of Sudan's troubles, not religion.
Now, wait a minute. Yeah, racism and tribalism are a problem. And the religion is a problem as well. That is inaccurate. The religion is a problem as well. Let me explain. I'm not saying that there's a problem with Islam in itself, because there's not a problem with Islam in itself. What you have to understand is the history of how East Africa, as opposed to West Africa, was Islamized. The East African was Islamized by Arabs. The West African was Islamized by Africans who had the sense, compassion, and understanding to leave the culture of West Africa alone. East Africa was Islamized by Arabs who didn't give a damn about African culture or African custom or African way of life. The Arab, again, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with Islam. There's a problem with the version of Islam that the Arab gives you. Because what the Arab gives you is not Islam at all. As Dr. John Henry Clark put it, what the Arab calls Islam is not Islam at all, but as he called it, Arabism. The Arab does not believe in Islam. The Arab believes in Arabism. Arabic culture, Arabic custom, Arabic way of life passed off as Islam. I'll give you an example. The oppression of women that is so deep-rooted in Arabic culture. That has nothing to do with Islam. As a matter of fact, one of the Prophet Muhammad's first acts was in defense of women at a time in Arabia where if a woman had 2 children, right, and the first child and the second child were girls, and then she had a third child, now say the third child was also a girl, it was their custom to kill the third child, to unalive the third child. One of the Prophet Muhammad's first acts was in defense of women to keep their third child if it was a girl. So now you tell me that Islam is oppressive of women, and I'll tell you you're a liar or you misunderstand. Nothing about Islam is oppressive of women. Arabic culture is oppressive of women. The Nation of Islam, for example. There's nothing oppressive about the Nation of Islam as far as women are concerned. And they are Muslims through and through. It is the Arab who has a problem with women. It is the Arab who has a deep insecurity with women and feels the need to oppress women. It make his women wear bed sheets so can't nobody see her body. Meanwhile, he's one of the biggest violators of women on the planet when it comes to other people's women. He will violate other people's women in a heartbeat, in a New York minute. But he puts his woman in bed sheets so you can't even see what she looked like. Can't see nothing but her eyes. That is the Arab. So again, it's not when they said that, there isn't a problem with the religion. Yes, there is a problem with the version of the religion that you were given. And there's a problem with their lack of understanding as far as the fact that the Arab does not believe in Islam in the first place. The Arab uses the religion of Islam politically. He never believed in Islam. And unfortunately, and this goes beyond Sudan and beyond Africa, this goes the world over with black folk who happen to be Muslim. A whole lot of black folk who happen to be Muslim fail to understand that. Even though time after time after time, going back centuries, the Arab has shown your black asses that they don't even consider you to be Muslims. And even though you call yourselves Muslims, they don't treat you like Muslims in any way, shape, form, or fashion. There have been several times throughout history when Arabic Muslims have invaded the nations of African Muslims, which is totally against the religion of Islam. A Muslim is never to be the aggressor, ever. A Muslim is only to defend himself and never to be the aggressor, certainly not against another people who call themselves Muslims. Muslim on Muslim crime, if you will, is forbidden in the nation of in the religion of Islam. But the Arab throws that out the window when it comes to black folk who call themselves Muslims. So yes, there is a problem within the religion. And don't let nobody tell you different.
Our northern brothers seized our land and stole our resources. That oil belongs to us.
Now, listen to what he just said. Our northern brothers. Those are not your damn brothers. Those are not your damn brothers. Like I just said, those are Arabs who are the descendants of colonizers and invaders and terrorists who never took their asses home. But again, you know, I'm quoting the heck out of Dr. Clark tonight. Like Dr. Clark also once said, the black man is the true believer. The black man will out-pope the Pope and out-Muhammad Muhammad. When the black man gets involved with a faith or spirituality, he goes all the way with it and truly believes in it. The problem is the black man always makes the terrible mistake of thinking everybody else believes in it the same as he does. Those are not his Muslim brothers in the north. Those are Arabs who look at him like a dog, like he's a dog. They don't even consider him to be a human being. And he's sitting here calling them his Muslim brothers. This is the naive mind of far too many black folk when it comes to their so-called Muslim brothers and their so-called Christian brothers. Let's keep it moving.
But they took it under the pretext of jihad. They killed our children and displaced our people. They are
Now listen to that. Okay, now again, mind you, these are Myron Gaines' people that we're talking about. Took our lands, displaced our people, unalived our children. But 2 seconds ago, he referred to them as his Muslim brothers. But these are Myron Gaines' people. Remember, Myron Gaines' mother and father were born in the Sudan. Myron Gaines is a first generation Sudanese, or first generation here in America. What do you think the conversations were like around the dinner table in Myron Gaines' house when he was growing up? What do you think his parents might have been putting in his ear about black people in general? And since they were living here in Connecticut, by the way, I think somebody said Waterbury, which is about an hour from me, hour and a half from me. What do you think the conversations were like around the dinner table about black people in general, and since they were here in America, about foundational black Americans specifically? These are Myron Gaines' people that we're talking about here, the Arabs in northern Sudan. Pay attention. Pay attention. I swear, after this, you will have a better understanding of why the shit that comes out of Myron Gaines' mouth continues to come out of his mouth.
Muslims, but they are racists. They don't acknowledge that we are Muslims.
They never did.
Had been unionists for quite a long time, including late John Garang. We were unionists, but we were forced by the Northerners to talk for separation.
Few understand the North-South dynamic like Galwak Deng. A Southerner and devout Christian, he's one of President Omar al-Bashir's closest friends, fighting on the side of the Muslim North and serving in its governments throughout the Civil War.
Some of us had been living in the...
Now, I gotta stop that right there. What she just referred to as a civil war was not a civil war. It was a race war. It was not a civil war. It was a race war. A civil war is when countrymen fights countrymen. Countrymen versus countrymen. Brother versus brother. That is a civil war. What happened in the Sudan and what is still going on in the Sudan is a race war. It is Arabs who are the aggressors against the Africans who have been pushed to the south. Pushed to the south by means of colonization and terroristic acts. That is not a civil war. These are acts of terrorism in what is a race war, not a civil war. And again, these are Myron Gaines' people. These are his people. Pay attention.
For almost 30, 40 years, but yet there is no that confidence. Whenever you live there, you just stay as a foreigner. You will stay as somebody who is not a Sudanese. That is the reason why the South.
And that's crazy because the African is the real Sudanese, not the Arab. Again, the Arab is the Arabs in North Africa as a whole, but since we're talking about the Sudan, the Arabs in the Sudan, northern Sudan, are the descendants of invaders who never went home. There's no way they could be the, quote, real Sudanese. Now, a moment ago, this brother was talking about, you know, at one point they wanted to develop some sort of unity with the Arabs in the north. There could be no unity with an invader. There can be no unity with a colonizer. But again, because the African is a true believer in whatever spirituality he attaches himself to, he thinks he can find some sort of camaraderie with these people through the religion. And this is why I say, yes, there is a problem with the religion. Because again, the African believes in Islam. The Arab believes in Arabism. The African just doesn't understand that. Most black folk in general around the world don't seem to understand that, like I said. There could be no unity with a colonizer, with an invader, with a usurper, with a terrorist, with an enemy who has such deep-seated, long-existing anti-black hatred. Don't forget that the Arab was involved in the slave trade for 1,000 years before the European came along, and is still involved in the slave trade to this very day. It is a foolish thing to think there could be some sort of unity with these people. And again, in this clip, these are Myron Gaines' people that we're talking about. Pay attention.
Is not developed. It is because they look to us as different people altogether. They just want us that way, to live like this, like what you are seeing in this mud in Upper Nile. To me, it is Northerners who rejected us not to be brothers forever.
Yet even racism does not fully explain Sudan's seeming failure to come together. Living here are thousands of impoverished migrants from the north. Their stories are often the same: war, poverty, and underdevelopment in a land of supposed oil wealth where everyone is just trying to survive. Upper Nile is the northernmost state in southern Sudan.
So there you go. Those are Myron Gaines' people. Okay? So when he sits there and puts the Klan hood on his head, and he's running around in the studio pretending to be a monkey and calling people niggas and bringing Nick Fuentes to the studio with a panel full of black women, mostly Haitian black women, from what I understand. And he's sitting there encouraging Nick Fuentes to say nigga with the hard ER. and he's joking about lynching black people. Speaking so ill of black women in general, but foundational black American peoples in general. When you hear all this stuff coming out of his mouth, after seeing that clip and getting more insight into the people that Myron Gaines comes from, now doesn't it make a little more sense? Now that you got a better understanding of the root of it. Now you see, Myron Gaines, like that stupid ass question that he asked, or that stupid ass question that he proposed. Myron Gaines is intelligent enough to know that he could walk into probably 99 out of 100 rooms in America and ask that question. He knows that he could walk into 99 out of 100 rooms and carry on with the buffoonery and his anti-black sentiment the way he does. And in 99 out of 100 rooms, he'd get away with asking that stupid ass question. And in 99 out of 100 rooms, people would be confused as to why this man has the anti-black sentiment that he has. But in 1 out of every 100 rooms here in America, it's a nigga like me sitting there. I'm not impressed by Myron Gaines' stupid ass 2 + 2 question. And I'm not dumbfounded by his anti-black sentiment. I know exactly why the poverty rate dropped so significantly between 1940 and 1960 for black folk. And I know exactly why Myron Gaines hates black people. And I know exactly why he has a bug up his ass specifically for foundational black Americans. Because I know the root of it all. I know where his people come from. I know how his people get down. I know what his people have done in the Sudan and are doing in the Sudan today. Myron Gaines just might be, as far as the people that we have on the internet, on YouTube, the popular or familiar faces that we know of, Myron Gaines is probably the King Tether. Myron Gaines probably sits on the throne of Tether Nation. That motherfucker is King Tether. You understand? I'm not confused whatsoever. Not one bit. And I'm not impressed with Myron Gaines either. Not at all. But yo, go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't hit it already. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel and hit that bell icon so you get all notifications, baby. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook. Make sure you follow me on Instagram so you can get the content that you won't get on YouTube or on Facebook, such as the Live with Martin Swartz series. I'm going to upload when I get 100 followers. I'm going to go through the painstaking process of uploading all 18 volumes of the Martin Swartz series, the Live with Martin Swartz series. For those of you who haven't seen the series yet, the Live with Martin Swartz series is hands down everybody's favorite series that I do. At this point, I only do 2 series, the Live with Martin Swartz series and the Hit 'em Up series. The Hit 'em Up series, while, I roast celebrities and shit. And the Live with Martin Swartz series, if you haven't seen that series yet, basically, Martin Swartz is a character that I created. Martin Swartz is a reporter, and he goes around and catches the action. And his commentary is commentary that you would never hear on CNN or Fox News. It's like, basically just imagine a crazy white guy going around catching the action and giving his commentary. It's the funniest shit you ever seen. Like I said, it's everybody's favorite series. Once I get to 100 followers, I will upload all 18 volumes of the Live with Martin Swartz series. So go on over to Instagram and follow me on Instagram. Also on Instagram, you will also get Kenyatta's Thoughts, where I give my breakdown, thoughts, opinion, and commentary on trending topics and whatnot. So go over to Instagram, follow me on Instagram. And also, again, man, if you like the content and you want to support the content and help this channel grow, go ahead and bless the Cash App, $BLAXKSQUAD, or you can hit the PayPal, and all of that is in the description box. So until next time, and there will be a next time, I am Kenyatta Black. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to the Black Squad. Fuck Myron Gaines. Deuces.